What's going on, friends? Sam Prentice here, back once again. I have travelled all the way to China to check out something that sounds a little bit ridiculous, because apparently this is a desktop 5-axis CNC machine. Not a 3-axis router, and not a little engraver that politely scratches your logo into a piece of wood.
A proper, simultaneous 5-axis CNC with 20,000 RPM spindle, automatic tool changing, probing, camera monitoring, and the ability, allegedly, to cut things like aluminium, brass, stainless steel, titanium, and even jade.
Which is a very dangerous sentence to say to a 3D printing YouTuber, because my brain immediately goes,
So can I actually make functional parts with it? Or is it just a very expensive way to engrave my own face into something?
But before we get carried away, this is not a normal 3D printing review. This is CNC. This is sharper, scarier, dustier, noisier. And if you get it wrong, it doesn't spaghetti. It eats the whole part. Or possibly a tool. Or even itself. So today, I'm here on site to find out 3 things. 1. Is this actually a real 5-axis CNC machine? 2. Is the workflow genuinely approachable for makers, designers, and 3D printing enthusiasts like me? And 3. Is this a genuine leap forward, or is this Kickstarter optimism in a very expensive metal-looking box? Friends, let's get straight on into this one.
You are watching a master at work.
So this is the Xhorse Xmachine WM-100.
And the big claim here is simple. Take something that traditionally belongs in a proper machine shop, a 5-axis CNC, and shrink the idea down into a machine that can live in a studio, a workshop, a school, or a serious makerspace. Now, 5-axis machining is one of those phrases that gets thrown around a lot, but the reason it really matters is quite simple. A normal 3-axis machine moves left and right, forward and back, and up and down. And that's brilliant for flattish parts. Plates, pockets, holes, brackets, signs, molds, lots of normal CNC work. But the second you want to get around curves, undercuts, hidden faces, organic shapes, impellers, jewelry-style pieces, or weird mechanical parts, suddenly you either need multiple setups, clever fixings, or you have to accept that the tool just cannot reach where you want it to go. And of course, 5-axis changes that, because the part can rotate and tilt while the tool is still cutting. So instead of attacking the job like a man trying to paint the whole way through a letterbox, the machine can actually move around the part and reach awkward bits. That's why this is interesting, not because it's just another CNC, because if this works properly, it could give smaller creators and workshop access to the kind of geometry that normally gets outsourced. And that's the things that I really care about, because 3D printing, we're used to making impossible shapes, we're used to using plastic, but CNC is where you start getting into real materials, real tolerances, and parts that just don't go soft because the sun looked at it funny.
Right, so let's have a proper look at the machine. And the first thing I'd say is it looks a lot less terrifying than I first expected.
And that might sound like a strange compliment, but proper CNC equipment looks like something that should be operated by a man called Dave, who hasn't smiled since 1994. This, at least from the outside, feels more like a serious desktop manufacturing tool. We've got a touchscreen HMI on the front, physical control panels, an emergency stop, which is always reassuring, and inside you can see the machining area, the spindle, the work housing, and the rotary axis setup. This machine uses a linear X, Y, and Z movement, but the magic really happens with the A and C axis. The A axis tilts the cradle and the C axis rotates the workspace. So when the machine is moving, you don't just see the tool going around the part.
You see the part almost presenting itself to the cutter, which is weirdly hypnotic.
It's like watching a very small industrial robot perform surgery on a block of material. And I know that sounds rather dramatic, but compared to a 3D printer, where the most exciting movement is usually the bed slinging itself backwards and forwards, this looks properly mechanical.
Xhorse say the maximum workspace here is 110 by 110 by 120 millimeters.
So this is not a machine for making massive parts. And it's certainly not replacing a full-size VMC, but it's not making a whole car wheel. But that's not really the point. This is for detailed parts, small prototypes, metal components, molds, jewelry-type pieces, model engraving, custom knobs, brackets, adapters, art pieces, small production work, that kind of thing. And certainly inside of my world, I'm immediately thinking functional prototypes, aluminium inserts, proper bracelets, little components, and those annoying small parts where 3D printing is nearly good enough, but just not quite. Now, this bit is one of the biggest things that I wanted to see in person, because the WM100 has a concealed automatic tool changer that can hold up to 6 tools. Now, if you've never seen a CNC before, you might not realize why this matters. Now, with 3D printing, we load filament, press print, go away, come back, and complain about it all on the internet.
But with CNC, different tools do different jobs.
You might use one tool for roughing, another one for finishing, another one for detailed work, and another one for drilling, and perhaps another one for engraving. So without an automatic tool changer, every time the machine needs a different tool, you have to stop, open the machine, remove the tool, put in the new one, set the tool length, check the offsets, and then continue.
Which is fine once, but less fine if the job takes hours.
And obviously not fine if you're trying to run a small studio and would rather not spend your afternoon babysitting a CNC machine. So in fact, this actually has a 6 tool changer, which is a huge part of its appeal. You can rough the part, switch to a finer cut, do the detailed work, maybe engrave, maybe finish, without manually interrupting the whole thing every 5 minutes. It's not just a convenience.
And that changes whether this feels like a machine you can actually use.
Now, the other big promise here is software, and it's probably the most important part from anyone that's coming from a similar hobby or even 3D printing, because certainly with 3D printing, we're spoiled. You can chuck a model into a slicer, pick a material profile, press slice, and the printer tells you what to do. Now, CNC is not usually that simple. CAM can be intimidating. Tool paths matter, feed and speeds matter, stock setup matters, work holding matters, collision detection matters, and if you get this wrong, you're not just losing a bit of filament. You can snap tools, damage the workpiece, or even crash the machine. Xhorse's answer to this is XMaker, their software workflow. Now, the idea of this is you can simply import the file, define your stock material, choose what you're cutting, be it wood, aluminium, brass, steel, or whatever else, and the software helps you generate the toolpaths. They're also pushing AI-style features, text to image, image to 3D model, and simplified toolpath generation. Now, I'm going to be honest, this is the bit that I'm most excited and also suspicious of, because every company seems to say they've got an AI workflow, and half the time it means that someone has stapled a chatbot to a toaster and called it innovation. But in CNC, if they've genuinely made CAM workflow less terrifying, that's a big deal, especially for people like me who have reasonable confidence in CAD, very comfortable, of course, inside of 3D printing, but not necessarily trained as a CNC machinist. So on site here, what I want to see is not just the shiny finished sample.
I want to see the process.
Import the model, set the stock, choose the material, generate the toolpath, simulate it, check for collisions, send it to the machine, and actually cut the thing. Because if the workflow is smooth, it becomes much more interesting. If it's less clunky, confusing, hides too much from the user, well, that's when beginners really get into trouble.
The next thing is setup, and this is generally where CNC can start to scare people off.
On a CNC machine, it needs to know exactly where the workplace is. Where is 0? How big is the block? Where are the edges? How big is the tool? Or how long is the tool? Is the material positioned correctly? Is the machine about to beautifully carve your model or beautifully carve straight through a vise? Now, the WM100 has several systems to help with this. There's an automatic tool setting, so the machine can measure the tool length and the offset. There's also probing for workplace positioning. There's also a camera and laser-based positioning, which is probably the feature that I'm most interested in seeing how that works. Because if the machine can genuinely detect the position and the dimensions of the workpiece, it can help reduce setup errors. And that's massive for quality of life improvements.
Now, I do want to be careful here. This is still CNC, and automation doesn't mean that you just stop thinking.
It means that the machine helps remove some of the tedious, easy to mess up steps, but you still need to understand what material you're cutting, what tool is loaded, whether or not the stock is secure, and whether the job actually makes sense. This is not quite the same as pressing a print on a benchy. This is more giving a very capable robot permission to attack a block of aluminium, and you'll certainly want to be awake for that. So let's look at the machine in action, and this part really matters because specs are one thing, Kickstarter pages are another.
But watching the machine actually cut is where you start to understand what it really is.
And straight away, 5-axis motion just looks different. With a normal CNC, you watch the spindle move around the job. With this, you're watching the machine and the workpiece coordinate together. The table rotates, the cradle tilts, the spindle comes in at different angles, and suddenly the tool can reach surfaces that would normally require multiple setups. And for me, this is where the technology starts to make sense. Think about something like an impeller, or a CV joint star, or a small sculpture bust. These aren't just flat shapes with pockets. They have curves, undercuts, inside details, areas where the cutter needs to come in from the side or from a different angle. Of course, 3-axis machines can do a lot, but they can't magically bend the tool around a corner. 5-axis lets the machine keep the cutter in a better orientation to the surface. This, of course, can mean cleaner parts, fewer setups, less manual repositioning, and more complicated geometry. And from a maker perspective, that's the exciting bit, because this is where CNC stops being a thing for making plates and brackets and starts becoming a way to make finished, complicated, functional parts. Now I'm going to look closely at the finish quality, the tool marks, the edges, and the detail, how much cleanup is needed, how loud it is, and how much mess it makes. Also, how confident the machine feels, and whether the enclosure actually feels suitable for the workshop environment, because desktop is a lovely word, because of course desktop CNC means chips, dust, coolant or mist, noise, sharp tools, and proper safety considerations. This isn't something that I just put next to my keyboard and a cup of tea. So the material list is where things get really interesting. Now, Xhorse are claiming that this can handle a wide range of materials, including aluminium, brass, copper, plastic, wood, wax, acrylic, jade, obsidian, and even harder metals depending on the setup and tooling.
Because for 3D printing people, metal is very much the forbidden fruit.
Certainly in my world, we can print plastic that looks like carbon fiber. We can print plastic nylon, which looks like carbon fiber. We can print engineering materials, and sometimes you just need metal. You need stiffness, you need heat resistance, you need threads that aren't going to give up, and you need a part that feels like it belongs in the real world and not a part stuffed in a drawer labeled prototype number 7. So this is where that machine becomes really useful. It's not replacing 3D printers, but it's sitting alongside them. Print the concept, test the shape, iterate quickly, then the machine's final version in aluminium, brass or steel, well, that's what makes sense. For small studios, designers, engineers, prop makers, jewelry makers, model makers, and mad people who keep inventing problems for themselves, this is a very appealing workflow.
But of course there is a catch. CNC is not magic, and cutting aluminium is not the same as cutting stainless.
Tool choices matter, speed and feed matters, chip evacuation matters, cooling matters, fixturings matter.
And I wouldn't look at this and say, brilliant, anyone can become a machinist overnight.
This is just not true. But what I will say for sure that this looks like it's trying to make proper CNCing less hostile. And that's a much more believable claim.
So what is it that I like? Well, the concept is genuinely very exciting.
Compact 5-axis machine with proper spindle, automatic tool changing, probing, camera assistance, and simplified cam is a very compelling idea. Second, the workflow appears to be designed for people that are not already full-time machinists. And that's really important, because if this only works for people who already know advanced cam, then this is just a smaller, expensive machine. But if it genuinely helps bridge the gap between 3D printing and CAD into CNC, that's really where this product becomes super interesting. Third, the automatic tool changer is a massive quality of life feature. It makes the whole machine feel less like a manual hobby CNC and more like a small automated manufacturing cell. But of course, there are some obvious cautions. The build volume is still relatively small, so if you're dreaming of huge parts, calm down. This is detailed part territory. There still will be a learning curve. And even with the smart software, CNC is still CNC. You need to respect the process. You need to understand materials. You need to know when the software is helping and when you should properly stop and check what on earth you're doing. And finally, of course, as per usual, this is a Kickstarter product, which automatically doesn't make it bad, but it does mean you should treat timeless final features, support, shipping, and long-term reliability with sensible caution. Backers, of course, are not buying from a shelf of a normal shop. They're backing a project. So my advice is be excited, but don't turn your brain off.
So first impressions from here in China. This is genuinely one of the more impressive machines that I've seen in a while.
Not because every maker suddenly needs a 5-axis CNC.
They don't. In fact, most people probably don't.
But for the right person, somebody doing prototypes, small metal parts, detailed work, product development, model engineering, jewelry, prop work, or high-end maker projects, this could be a very serious setup. It sits in a really interesting gap between desktop, maker tools, and industrial manufacturing. And that gap is exactly where a lot of us live. We don't always need a factory, but sometimes we need more than a printer. So the real question isn't, can it just cut metal? The question is, can it make 5-axis CNC approachable enough that creators, designers, and small workshops can actually use it. And that's of course what I've come out here to find out.
So as we move towards the last few hours here at Xhorse, it's been an amazing experience being able to take blocks of metal just like this. This is a block of aluminium, and actually make parts. Now these are from the R2D2. There's an arm element. They're a greebly basically for the arms. I'll show you that in this picture. But to be able to take blocks of metal and make them into these parts, I think this is an absolutely insane machine. And I think we're really just scratching the surface with some of the things you can do. Things that me and Ben have been talking about over the past few days is injection molding. How can we mine out that raw material and make it into something amazing? Could we take plastic 3D printed poop, for example, and make that into something else? It's certainly something you could definitely do. Now, who is this machine for? It's probably not for somebody that's just going to have it in their house just because. It's going to be for engineers, it's going to be for people that are practically making something, or people that really want to make money. So I want to thank Xhorse for their amazing hospitality. We have got a full factory tour as well. We've got reasons why they're putting this machine on Kickstarter, which I think is actually pretty compelling. Friends, I hope you've enjoyed the video. We will see you next time. Bye for now.
You are watching a master at work.